Hey guys, this is John from The Head and the Heart. You guys are digging in my crates with cool accidents. I brought a few records over here. This first one it's a live Bob Marley record. But I think the first time I ever saw him live on TV, I've just never really seen anyone perform the way he performs. It's so spiritual. It's like it's hard. I can't imagine anyone else doing it and it actually not looking contrived or put on. I mean, he just completely loses himself when he plays, and that to me is like such an inspiration. I feel like before I even performed live for the first time, I just remember being turned on by that kind of performing. And then sometimes now when I am performing, I can kind of tell that I'm not letting myself go. This is kind of the reminder of like, this is the standard. Yeah, plus it's a sick album cover. This is Cry Still Nash & Young album, Deja Vu. We were listening to this record on repeat when me and Josiah and Kenny had just recently started writing songs together. I remember when we wrote Ghosts. We wrote that at Kenny's apartment, and he had this record. This might actually be his record. It's probably his parents' record, actually. He was obsessed with this, the song Our House on here. We just had that song on a loop. I feel like the music we were making back then was also really inspired by, 3-4 part harmonies, kind of simple, stripped down arrangements, but just really, I don't know, just well-established songs. So I probably have 3 versions of this now. This album itself isn't necessarily, it's a Beethoven album. The sonatas, obviously, Moonlight, a couple others. I think the same thing with this. Anything with Moonlight Sonata, I was obsessed, and I would buy every version I possibly could. So I probably have a dozen different versions of Moonlight Sonata between here and I have an apartment in Richmond, Virginia, where I have a whole other record collection going. Probably half a dozen over there. But Bob Marley, Beethoven, and John Lennon, to me, are like the 3 as a triangle. Like if you can, the things that they bring to composition, passion, dynamics, I just feel like the 3 of them cover so much of what I'm drawn to. So pretty much anything with Beethoven, I'm gonna check out. This is Jerry Rafferty. I'd never heard of this guy, and my now fiance turned me on to the song Right Down the Line, which I didn't even realize he's the same guy that does Baker Street. You would know that song if you heard it, but this whole album is killer. Whatever's Written in Your Heart is such a beautiful song. Also, look at that album cover. That is so killer. Canadian dude, bringing it. Yeah, a lot of. Yeah, I think the first time I hung out with my fiance, she played Jerry Rafferty, and like she was very impressed with herself because obviously I'm like, I'm in a band and I'm supposed to know all this stuff about music, and she played like 4 songs in a row of people that it was either somebody I'd never heard of or a song by them that I had never heard. So she came out swinging right out of the gate, which was pretty impressive. Enough Said by Nina Simone. Enough Said. Backlash Blues is such a good song on this album. This whole album is incredible. I love Nina Simone's playing, I love her voice, but her feel on piano is one of my favorites. Between her and Ray Charles, piano player wise, that's kind of all I really need. This record, it's called African Lady, nightlife music from West Africa. Solomon Rogi, maybe? I've tried so hard to find this album on any streaming service or even on YouTube that I can't find it anywhere. Which is kind of why I love this one record store near Alamo Square in San Francisco, nearby where I live. It's called Original Vinyls. And they just have a great world. I mean, they have a great selection in general. But if I come home from tour, especially after like a festival season, and I've just been playing with music that you can hear because it's easy to get, it's also on the radio, you get kind of sick of hearing the same thing over and over again, and so I'll walk over to this local record store, Originals Vinyl, and just like spend a ridiculous amount of money on records like it's freaking Christmas or something. But yeah, moving on. Herbie Hancock, Headhunters, classic. Also, such a cover and backside. What is it? I think it's track 2. Yeah, Watermelon Man on this album. It's just like this polyphonic loop that starts with, I can't tell if it's like vocals and like flutes or something. But the way they build in this one song, this whole album is just classic. Everybody should listen to this at some point in their life. Tom Waits, Nighthawks at the Diner. I feel like if you know Tom Waits, there's different phases obviously of Tom Waits' career, right? This was kind of before he started singing in his now like infamous kind of like gravelly, circusy way of singing. This is like a classic. I don't know. It's really like I can't think of like the right way to put it, but it's there's a certain feel that happens with this album that you should just get. You should get this record. Fun enough. This is from Originals. My boy JB here, Jackson Brown. I feel like before I even knew who he was, I knew about this album cover. You know, you just saw it in somebody's basement, and somebody's older brother had it on the wall, and you're like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. It's so simple, but it's so classic. And then you grow up, and you obviously get to know his music. And then if you're lucky and find yourself in random situations like I did, and you end up meeting him in Haiti and then making an album together, this starts meaning something even more. So we've now become friends, and it's wild, and it's an honor. And this doesn't need any words. We all know how good this is. Just look at the album cover alone. John Lennon. This is raw studio mixes. I think it's with Imagine. Yeah. So it's like outtakes, different takes, like take 10 on Imagine, Cripple Inside, take 6, Jealous Guy, take 29, take 11, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, live and breathe John Lennon, anything he's ever done. So even if it's just him rambling on with George Harrison for 12 minutes, and maybe you hear a part of a song that became another song, like to me that's just gold. So whenever I fly around the world, especially, I'm trying to find like anything and everything that I can, you know. Rubber Soul, obviously everybody knows the Beatles. This is my mom's favorite Beatles album. This is a reissue. This is when they did all the remastering. But this just felt like, I remember my mom had her original copy of this in my closet, because all of her records were in my closet for some reason when I was like a teenager. As was this Bob Marley record that I used to break weed up on, and of course I lost that somehow. Probably got stoned and left it in somebody's car, which is heartbreaking. And she never knew that until now. But yeah, this album just always reminds me of my mom, and it is an incredible album, obviously. Lastly, we're gonna end with some U2. What does this say? Original 1987 with insert poster. Year mint. Yeah, I'm not one of those like audiophiles that is obsessively looking for like reissues, like a, you know, Japanese or German reissue or original, whatever, this and that. I respect the people who have the time to do that. More power to you. But this album became really significant to me and Chris, the bass player in the band. We were listening to this incessantly at the end of 2018, maybe 17. Years fly by. Whenever the Signs of Light tour was ending, we were listening to, like, we had U2 on repeat. We were watching Rattle and Hum, this really sick documentary on them, every night before we would go on stage. And so this kind of Joshua Tree, and just kind of like a 180 idea in terms of music was like really like resonating with us a lot, and we ended up going to Joshua Tree to work on our last record, which was the Mirage. I don't want to say we went out there and tried to make Joshua Tree because the music is pretty much nothing like it, but there was definitely a lot of like inspiration from what these guys were able to make out there. Yeah, that's a few of the records that I'm inspired by. At the moment, I am actually not in my apartment because it's under construction. So I don't have my record player and I don't have the rest of my vinyl. But I'd say this is a pretty good start, and yeah, I'd love to see what everyone else is inspired by. Thanks for spending time with me. And I hope everybody's staying safe and looking for moments like this in their life that are really nice to be home. Yeah, take care. Thank you.